Oh yeah.
Bing bang!
What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin. If you are new here, I make automotive content from everything from car meets to car shows to my own personal builds to just general hooning altogether. So if that sounds fun, feel free to subscribe and follow me. In today's video, we are going to discuss my top 3 underrated JDM car picks. R32 GTR, R33 GTR, R34 GTR. Thanks for watching. In all seriousness, guys, there is a plethora of JDM cars to choose from. And for my friends outside of the United States, let me explain. In the US, you can actually start importing cars legally that are 25 years or older. So sky's the limit on your JDM dreams. That is, of course, if you've got deep pockets.
That's right, baby. I just bought this truck straight cash. And I got enough cigarettes to last me and my family for the rest of our lives. I'm rich, bitch!
And that's not to mention, if you live in California, you're actually going to be paying a lot more than you would in any other state. More on that later. I do want to mention that a couple of these JDM cars I'll be mentioning are viewed as more compromises and reasonable budget-friendly alternatives to the more popular options that are available on the market, especially when it comes to not breaking the bank. Just an FYI, a couple of the cars that I'll be mentioning will actually be pulled from RHD Specialties and also Top Rank Imports, which I am, by the way, not sponsored by either of them. It's just the more well-known importers here in California. But if you guys want to sponsor me, feel free to, let me know. That being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. At number 1, starting off strong, we're going with the Toyota Celica GT4, specifically the ST205 model. So the ST205 is a 2.0 liter 3S GTE turbo. It is an inline 4 and it's pushing about 250 horsepower and 224 pound-feet of torque. It's all-wheel drive and it's made it to a 5-speed manual transmission with a 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds. Right off the bat, I know what you're gonna think, it's just a Celica. This is not just an ordinary Celica. This is a Celica with all-wheel drive, with rally heritage. This thing looks pretty sweet, it sounds pretty sweet, and at the end of the day, it's Toyota, so you know it's reliable. But that being said, it's not without its faults. So the Celica GT4 suspension may be an issue, especially if you'll be doing any sort of rally-inspired driving.
You ever take it off any sweet jumps? You got like 3 feet of air that time.
In particular, the GT4 has something known as a super strut suspension. It is a hybrid suspension between a normal McPherson strut and a multi-link setup. Control links tend to go bad over time and may need to be refreshed or totally replaced. But aside from that and other 25-year-old problems, the Toyota Celica GT4 is an excellent pick if you're someone looking for a JDM import. As an example, I did find a GT4 online from RHD Specialties. This is a 96 Toyota Celica GT4. It's in this beautiful blue color. It looks great. It looks pretty clean inside and out. It's got some confetti chairs in here. Obviously, it's a little beat up. It's an older car, but for the price, can't really complain. List price on this is $23,900. All right, guys, moving on to number 2 on the list. We do have a Skyline, but it's not a GTR. This is a R32 Skyline gts-t. The gts-t is a 2.0 liter RB20 det. It's a turbo inline 6, 212 horsepower, and 195 pound-feet of torque. It is rear-wheel drive and it's made it to a 5-speed manual transmission. 0 to 60 in this car goes by 6 seconds. gts-t, the baby brother of the GTR. Why does it not get any love? Well, I think a couple of reasons is 1, it's not the GTR. 2, it's not all-wheel drive. But these are things that I think, guys, is a fair compromise when you're looking at a gts-t, especially for the money. The gts-t is rear-wheel drive, so you can definitely swing the tail out and drift with it. So that's a fun little perk. And number 2, it actually pushes a pretty decent amount of power. Technically speaking, it's not an RB26, but it's still an RB motor nonetheless. And a quick YouTube search will show the potential of these cars.
.517 horsepower, 428 torque. Out of the little 2 liter that could.
For the fraction of the price of an R32 GTR, the gts-t will get the job done and then some if you're willing to throw money at it for mods. But just like any other old car, guys, it does have its issues. So these engines are known to be quite reliable, but like any other engine, they may still have some issues. Ignition coils may fail, causing an engine misfire, so it's a good idea to have these replaced, especially if the history of the vehicle is unknown. I did find a pretty fair example of a nice little gts-t, also from RHD Specialties, that we'll walk through right now. So this is a 1990 Nissan Skyline R32 gts-t. It is in a beautiful white color here. It's super simple, and aside from a couple of cosmetic things like a different bumper from the GTR, it's almost identical in the sense that it pretty much is still a Skyline. You still have those beautiful rear tail lights, and it's still right-hand drive, and it has an RB motor. I think this is a wonderful compromise, and I would totally be in the market at looking one of these. The price for this specific one here is $24,900. All right, guys, and at number 3, which is my personal favorite, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 3. So the Evo motor is a 2.0 liter 4G63 turbo inline 4. This bad boy pushes 266 horsepower and 228 pound-feet of torque. It's all-wheel drive, and it's mated to a 5-speed manual transmission with a 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. It's the Evo III. Actually, any old Evo in general, other than the Evo 10. Personally, I don't like the Evo 10. You guys let me know what you think. The Evo 3, I think these cars look awesome. It's an old school 90s looking car. It's turbo, it's all-wheel drive. It's basically, in my opinion, practically like an Evo 8 and an Evo 9 on a strict diet. And on top of that too, you can make these cars wicked quick. So just like the Toyota, guys, just like the Nissan, it's a 25-year-old car and it's gonna have its problems. So as a whole, the Lancer Evolution is a stout vehicle, but of course it's not without its own problems. The balance shaft bearing and belt failure are known issues for these vehicles. The balance shaft bearings commonly fail, which result in improper rotation and added vibration. When the balance shaft belt snaps, it takes the timing belt out as well. And what results is a blind date with the valves meeting the pistons.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
I did find a wonderful example of a nice clean Evo 3 from top ranked importers here in California. So this is a 1995 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 3. It's in this beautiful yellow color here. It's very clean. I just love the way it looks. It's totally boxy, it's totally 90s, and I love the rear tail lights and the little wing right there. Mileage is pretty low as well, so that's not too bad. So the funny thing about the Evo 3 is it's actually kind of hard to find these on import websites. You'll find more R32 GTRs and Skylines than you would an Evo, which to me is pretty interesting. So this particular model on Top Rank is $56,995. Which is really interesting because I actually found one on RHD Specialties a while back that sold for $23,900. There's a huge discrepancy here between prices from two different importers, and yeah, that's kind of strange. More on that later. So I know I just named 3 underrated cars, but I do want to mention 2 honorable mentions, and the first of which is the Nissan GT-IR. So the GT-IR is a 2.0 liter SR20 DET. This is a turbo inline 4 pushing 227 horsepower and 210 pound-feet of torque. It's all-wheel drive and it's mated to a 5-speed manual transmission with a 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. A nice clean example of this was sold on RHD Specialties for about $23,900. The next car, number 2, which I actually find as a personal favorite, is the Suzuki Cappuccino. It's a 0.7 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder, pushing 63 horsepower and 63 pound-feet of torque. It comes in either a 5-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic. 0 to 60 blazes by in about 9 seconds. And a nice example of this sold recently for about $13,500. So the question remains, why are these underrated cars? These cars are underrated because they're not considered the company's halo car. It might be the little brother to the top model, but that doesn't mean they're not good sports cars in their own right. By comparison, halo cars such as the Mark IV Supra or GTR Skylines are going for insurmountable amounts of money. Like big amounts of money. As an example, Top Rank here has a Supra RZ twin turbo going for $75,995. And an R33 GTR going for $94,995. By the numbers, the underrated cars that I just mentioned in comparison to those Halo cars look like a fantastic value for a sports car. These underrated cars are gonna start blowing up, and that's because these Halo cars are going for insurmountable amounts, and these other cars are more affordable. So don't sleep on these underrated cars. They're definitely worth a second look at. And by the way, my friends, remember earlier when I told you California folk are gonna be paying more for imported cars than any other person within the United States? That's because in California, we need to have our cars meet the specifications for smog and EPA guidelines listed here in California. Oh, I love this state so much. Unfortunately for us California folk, this does not yet include California specific legalities to meet EPA requirements and smog. Per Top Rank Imports, getting a JDM car within California spec can cost anywhere between $7,500 to $15,000. And this is on top of the sales price of the vehicle. So yet again, California screws with the car community by placing all of these requirements on our favorite JDM cars. But at the same time, I suppose you gotta pay to play. Now, there are some sneaky ways around this, which I will not mention in this video. Registering your car out of state. These cars are super underrated, and I am so happy that I was able to make this video because I've actually been considering picking one of these cars up, not now, but later in the future. Amongst all these cars, although I love the Evo III the most, I think that I'm leaning towards the GTS-t just because I love the way they look. You can make it fast, you can make it a show car, you can make it anything you want, and I think that's the beauty behind these underrated cars, is that you can pick them up for cheaper than you would for a Halo car and still have plenty of fun with it. Let me know what your specific pick is for the most underrated car. Did I leave a car out? Is there an import that you're considering wanting to buy? Let me know down there in the comments. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. This is a little different. I love having these discussion videos, so please let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Until next time guys, remember, respect your elders. Peace.